Hello and welcome to the 9th round of the Skill Issue Fantasy Series 2000. We are at Brands Hatch for the second to last round, and coming around the downhill right-hander heading to the Druid's Hairpin. Boy, I gotta tell you, this is a really difficult track with these cars. I find myself at every corner struggling to balance where the throttle should be, understeering like mad, oversteering like crazy on the exit sometimes. Oh man, this was a really hard track here. Coming along the right-hander here to end the first sector and going into the back bulby bit of the track. Gonna gun it down the straight because there's a lot of right-hand corner action coming up. Trying to find the right braking point in these cars was tricky. When I was trying to make this setup, I had to keep changing and re-changing the brake balance. Ultimately landed on something that was almost comfortable if I wasn't pushing, and as a result, I never really felt like I could maximize what I was doing. As we come into the second to last left-hander here, using the camber of the track itself to help get the car around the corner, and then as we get to the final right-hander here, just gotta coast through. I had a lot of trouble keeping it like in a decent line, but we're coming around the final corner here, gonna cross the line, and we'll see where that puts me. And the answer is low. I actually ended up qualifying the worst of the season all the way down in P18. Actually pretty much 2/3 of the way down the order. Not a great starting place on a difficult track with a difficult car. Let's see how this race shakes down. So we are at the rolling start, just trying to get things going, and when the green lights come on, actually putting the power down pretty decently and not losing positions for once, which is so great. Taking the inside of the conga line, making up a few positions, then dropping back down one, up to P15 coming out of the first quarter and headed toward the Druid's Hairpin, which is real tricky. I've never been good at this corner, and fighting for P14 but not able to make it stick. So we come around to the left-hander here, hugging the curbs and losing a bit of ground to the car behind. That's down to P16, coming towards the next left-hander here, just trying not to lose the edge, and the car turns into me when I was half off the curb. So you know what? I'm not going to take too much blame for that. And finishing that first sector in P15, which, God, that's just such a good feeling to make up positions in the first few corners. And as we come around the corner, the stricken car of Mikey Thompson off the track there, so up to P14 again, but the car behind is going to try to make a push for it. I'm paying more attention, unfortunately, to the mirror than the track in this moment of time, so not a great exit. And we're coming around the second to last corner here, using that camber and putting the power down up in P14 now, so it's only 4 positions in one lap, but you know what, for a start, that's pretty good. Better to move forwards than it is to move backwards. And coming towards the end of the first lap, now as we head towards that first corner, not a very comfortable turn for me, and getting out-braked by the AI, that puts me down to P15, a position that I would not see any higher than. Unfortunately, this was the peak of the race for me as far as positioning goes. Jumping way ahead now to the 13th lap, halfway through the race, and I've lost 7 seconds to the car in P14. Coming around the right-hander here and just misjudging it, too much power down, touching the wall. I see there's no cars back there, so gonna hit the gas, spin around. I've lost 3 positions to the mini conga line behind, unfortunately. Seeing another car coming up behind, trying to keep it in the middle to force them to slow down while I try to pick up speed, and then just going wide around that last corner. There goes another position, down to P19 thanks to an overabundance of right foot on an inopportune moment coming out of that left-hander. And then it got even worse for me. We are on lap 17, almost 2/3 of the race gone, and on the approach to Surtees corner coming up here before that straight, going in a little too deep, touching grass, and with the lack of downforce from the front wing damage, off the track. Tried to put a little bit of throttle to keep the car straight, but on the grass it was all the throttle, and I didn't see cars behind me when I was trying to turn around, but they sure were there. In fact, all of the cars that were behind me before the crash were just waiting. So I've got a coolant leak now because I've gunned the engine. Every car gets past me. all I can do now with that coolant leak, like I said in Spielberg, once that pops up, it's kind of game over. But swerving the car around in the hopes that maybe I can see the end of the race, and starting to pull up speed, smoke behind, cars behind, so letting them through. And when I shift into third gear, there goes the engine. And man, that's just not a great feeling. Another DNF. It's really feast or famine for me on these races. It's first place or nothing, I think, except for that first race. All that's left for me to do is to pull over to the side, put the car to a stop, and get what I'm sure will be a very supportive message from Crew Chief Jim. He's always got my back, right?
B30, right, this isn't good enough, not by a long shot. I'm starting to wonder why we're bothering here. There's guys finishing way ahead of us who've got half the budget and cars that barely work. You're the weak link. The results are not going to improve unless you do.
Thanks, Jim. So that's the end of the 9th round of this race. I shockingly, despite 4 DNFs, balanced out by 4 wins and that first race 6th place finish, I'm at the top of the standings by 4 points. Not something I thought would be the case, but we're going into the final race at the Circuit de la Sarthe. We are going to do the 30 minutes of Le Mans, a track that, while it's never been in my top 5, possibly not even my top 10, it's a track that I have a lot of respect for. Gonna get some practice down, gonna learn the S's at the end sector of that track because that's always been a challenge, and we're gonna fight for a championship in the final round. That's new to me. Really looking forward to that. But until then, thanks for watching, have a good day, make good choices, and bye.